Actually,
I don't know who's going to win.
I actually don't know how strong Breakaway is going to be, because last week we saw them go up against Order. We didn't really get a great grasp of how they played, because they kind of just got smashed into the ground, which is to be expected from going up against Order. Kanga, they did play against Melbourne Mavericks, and they were only able to get one map draw. They didn't even get a single map win under their belt, so that's not a great statistic for Kanga here. But my general feeling is that Kanga is a little bit of a stronger roster. We'll see if I'm right or if I'm wrong as we head into this matchup.
I'm stuck between saying the Kanga roster looks strong, but this is Breakaway season.
Is it Breakaway season?
Well, they're not going to win Overwatch Contenders Australia Season 3. They're not going to beat the Sydney Drop Bears in a grand final on the stage.
But
I don't think that. But maybe they can earn themselves a spot next year and prove that they have improved across the board and deserve this slot. Well, Davey, going to go low, but everyone sitting strong this first battle. It's really about that very first pick.
Well, it does look like another change-up for Breakaway in terms of the roster, but we'll talk about that after this fight does play out. For now, Kanga Esports the ones sitting on the point as they should be. With that Reinhardt composition, you want to be brawling in the close quarters. They're certainly charging up the ultimates very, very quickly indeed.
Looking for another one.
Well, Jay almost getting booped off there twice, but in the end, he will survive long enough to get demeched at the very least. Grab goes out. That was from Slutzor Jay, but I think it must have been Eden. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but in the end, nothing really comes of it.
It did not go where it needed.
What I wanted to say, 4 is coming into the roster here as well for Breakaway Esports. For Trisamail, looks like that's another change up that Breakaway have made. 4, I don't think he's actually played a match of Contenders, but he has been in Contenders. Does that make sense? He's been a sub for a couple of rosters from memory. And I think it was actually a sub for Kanga this season to start things off, so a bit of a revenge storyline maybe for him here.
You've got it on my sheet here, Jordan. It has him as a sub for Kanga. So yes, Graviton Surge is not going to get eaten. Can anyone follow up with damage? Default goes down. And Breakaway going to have the sound barrier, as will Kanga. Everyone very healthy for the moment. But without D-Field, without that Brigida, there's really not that much they can do. And Kanga starting off strong, already up to almost 50% here to kick this one off on Lighthouse. Looking pretty good.
Yeah, no concerns at the moment. We'll swap over to the Reinhardt. Winston obviously not working here for Breakaway. Kanga is definitely playing around their win condition by sitting on the point and forcing Breakaway to come into that close range, into the Reinhardt cone of damage, really. And they're now going to respond in kind with their own, but shatter advantage here for Davey.
Graviton Surge now for Breakaway. What can they follow through with? The self-destruct. Going to find Swalco. The rest of the team goes down as well. Breakaway finally win themselves a fight and will guarantee themselves at least a shot here. So the control point is now theirs. Now, can they do what we saw Heist do in the same situation?
Yeah, it'd be a very big map win for them, or round win at the very least, if they were able to come back into this one. 4 in the last fight, able to put a lot of damage down because of the grab, bunching a lot of players up. Has got his Earth Shatter built up already. Davey throws his out first, and it's a good one.
It is a good one. Follows it through with not a bad charge, but not going to get the kills that he wants to start off with. D-Field, though, going to go down again. That Brigida removed from this particular fight, and that will allow Kanga back onto the point here.
Yeah, 4 also threw his Shatter down and didn't really get too much of an impact out of it. Davey's back up to 50% already.
Yeah, one last fight.
Well, that's a very solid response from Kanga Esports at that point. That's just saying, hey, look, we know you won that fight, but you had the ult advantages, you caught us off a little bit, but we're definitely the better team here, because we can win the fight straight away again.
Going to try and get onto the point, 98, 99%. They're going to be forced to charge on through. We are into overtime here. The charge actually doesn't make it onto the point. So that leaves Quad J all on his lonesome as the rest of the team now follows suit. Davey actually quite low, and this is not great
that's
position.
A big shatter.
But he's got the shatter, and that will certainly help Quad J again. Looking like he's going to have to get out of dodge. Self-destruct in the middle. They haven't got much to deal with this. That's a very big Graviton Surge into self-destruct that Breakaway will use to secure the point and just push the overtime aside, give themselves a little bit more of a shot. Yeah, for the moment. Just for a little while.
Davey there, was nice for him to actually be able to get that shatter down. He was so low on HP, you could see him holding on to it as long as he could so that he could get the heals up and ensure that he got the shatter down, which he did, and that resulted in the trade of the tanks. But No Davey, no one to block the shatter.
Oh, here we go. That's the big shatter as well. Self-destruct comes through. Not a great self-destruct, however. I feel like I've done 1 or 2 of those in my life. Not always happy with it, that's for sure. But will it matter? 4's gone down.
Shatter from Davey.
Yeah, this should be enough. Kanga's going to win this fight. They'll capture the point back. And at 99%, that will mean that Lighthouse will go to them here on Ilios.
Overall, a very solid win there for Kanga Esports. The only time that Breakaway won a fight was when they had a major ultimate advantage and were able to use that to clean the fight up. Otherwise, Kanga Esports, again, just looking a lot more solid, a lot more coordinated, and a lot more in unison. Davey able to get a lot of work done with the Reinhardt. Breakaway Esports never really felt like they were particularly consistent there on Lighthouse. Every single time a fight was won, Kanga Esports responded with the next fight pretty easily their own way. So I would say that's a very confident win for Kanga Esports starting things off.
Yeah, it was quite convincing in the very first round. Now it's Breakaway's chance to bring it back a little bit. Get a victory here on Well, make it 1-1. Head across the ruins. That's going to be their game plan. At least let's see if they can follow through. Davey does have the Orisa. I love Orisa, particularly at the moment, and particularly here on Well.
I'm a big fan of Orisa as well. No pun intended. Slitzel J, though, is going to be a bit of a thorn in the side of the Orisa. Quite easy to chunk through shields as far up. Able to put a lot of damage out, and that's why you can see Kanga are kind of cowering away in the enclosed space.
Low.
Almost a big boot.
Hit up once again, about to get D-Mech. There we go. That's coming across the Lash, and the McCree has been quite effective here. Kanga going to find the kills. Render the only one from Kanga going down.
Yeah, so Slitzel J getting a bit of work done there, but the rest of Breakaway falling on the ground fight. We'll go over onto Orisa. I think that's not a bad choice. Winston just not providing enough shield sustain for Breakaway to be able to stay in the fight on the point. So Kanga do start off with a big advantage. Lush up to 75%. And I got to say, I think Lush was quite impressive when he was playing on those hit scan characters last week. McCree, Widowmaker, the two. Sad boy almost getting booped off.
Oh, still good. Still good. However, every second here going in favor of Kanga is now up to Breakaway to push themselves on. Oh, see you later, Brigitte. Down into the well. Little J's gone down to Lush as well. Does get picked back up for there by Aki. We'll see whether Deadeye can do anything. Last while, does get the D-Mech. You hold it long enough, yeah. It's a good little pick. Would love to find himself potentially one more. That double supercharger, all you can see is lines going across. Only one, actually.
Thought that was going to be a disaster for Kanga when Slitzel J threw out the rocket barrage, but immediately shut down by Cantus.
Yeah.
Once again, another fight does go quite cleanly the way of Kanga Esports. Sad Boy will reset to get the mech back.
Almost up to 80%. One and a half fights left here, potentially for Breakaway to bring this back. They're going to get back onto the point right now. But if this is slow and they lose, they are out.
Well, it's a dry fight, and that's really where Kanga have had the advantage. The only thing to speak of is the self-destruct, maybe on both sides. Render under pressure.
Little J low, almost goes down, but as Jarvis get picked up first there by Davey. And this should be it, Jordan. We're into overtime, but it does not matter. Kanga will win the fight, and they will win here on Ilios. Lush to clean them up with one last Deadeye. Finds, oh, even though he gets the D-Mech, you do have probably about a second there to set the self-destruct off. Jarvis, onto the point.
Yeah, I thought the round was actually over already,
well,
but
it is.
It is, yeah, you're right.
We're just waiting slowly. Overtime, there we go. Kanga 2-0 here on Ilios. To be fair, do so in quite fine form. Looking pretty strong up against Breakaway, at least for now.
Yeah, good news for Kanga. It's their first map win of Contenders Season 3, and a pretty confident map win as well. Very solid stuff. I guess the first on Lighthouse, it took a little while to get going. Some lost fights there, but realistically speaking, every single time we saw a bit of an offensive from Breakaway, there was a very good response from Kanga Esports. Straight away, they won back the next fight, or they were able to stall it out long enough that it wasn't really a considerable victory, really, for Breakaway Esports. So at no point in that one on Ilios did I ever feel Breakaway Esports actually really had much of a chance. And that's very good to see from Kanga Esports. Maybe a bit of an insight into the future for the rest of this series. Already super, super solid. And that almost kind of reminds you a little bit of Melbourne Mavericks up against freshman class.
Yeah, I don't want to preempt it too much because I'd like to think that Breakaway are much closer to this Kanga team than what we saw in the last game. But this particular map certainly did go in the way of Kanga quite convincingly. So we head on to the hybrid game mode, Jordan. What do you think we're going to see here? What's going to be picked up? Is there something that's going to favour this Breakaway lineup? Because clearly it wasn't control that suits them.
No, well, I can say that they did pick Numbani as their map last week after losing on Busan to Order, but I don't know that that is going to necessarily play too much of a part in this one because Numbani was also the choice of Kanga Esports. So if you're kind of playing into your own hands, you're maybe also playing into Kanga's hands in a sense there. Really depends how these two teams are, or in most cases, I guess, how Breakaway is going to feel, at least being the one to choose this next coming map. I suppose Numbani was a map that we saw them play quite a lot in Season 1 as well, so I think it is more of a comfort map there from Breakaway. Wouldn't be surprised to see that be the choice, and it is going to be.
You are such a pro Elfishguy.
Well, I do the stats, man. That's where it comes from.
You spend a lot of time on your spreadsheets, that's for sure.
But for Numbani, like, the thing for Breakaway that they like about Numbani, I think, is that they can put Slidzor onto Farah. He does tend to like that hero quite a bit. It's quite a change up from the Season 1 Breakaway Esports now with 4 coming in and with Aki coming in. So that is going to maybe change things a little bit, and we'll see how it sort of develops throughout the season. I think there is potential for this Breakaway to actually look stronger as a result of these roster changes. But right now, today, in their first official match with this new roster, I don't know that it is going to necessarily work out too well. Swilko and Render going to be going for the Farah Mercy. Looks like Kanga Esports have decided to start on attack.
Interesting. Interesting for sure. At least it probably means that we might get a bit of a longer map here if it were to go the way of how the previous matchup went. Kanga going to push on out and see whether they can capture themselves point A in any sort of quick time. Breakaway going to be doing what they can to slow this down.
Yeah, this is just going to be a straight up dive from Kanga Esports.
I'm ready. My body's
back
ready.
To Season 2.
Goat is dead. At least for the next 30 seconds.
At least for probably the rest of this first point. Davey leading the charge, of course, as the main tank followed up quite well by Sad Boy. Render getting damage on top of them as well. Maybe a little over-eager there for Davey onto Slidzor.
Actually playing quite well here. Doing far more damage than maybe some would have expected to see coming out of the Sombra.
Well, it definitely wasn't a bad start for Kanga Esports, but the middle stage of that fight did not go the way they needed it to. I think Davey expected a little bit more heals out there as he did jump on top of Slidzor. Lush just almost built up an EMP in that one, though, so he's done a lot of work there. Still positional advantage for Kanga Esports at this point. Breakaway now, in a sense, have to retake their own point.
Yeah. Well, as you said, position here in favour for Kanga, and of course Render going pretty well on the Farah, but a self-destruct might change all of that. Nope, not going to happen. It's 4 who finds the damage, actually.
Render under pressure, doesn't have any heals here, whereas Swilko not close enough to Render, regardless of where. Another good hold here for Breakaway. Kanga Esports not able to cap a tick off that, and you would have thought that they could. Now coming up on a lot of ultimates, though, on the attack is Kanga. So EMP, Rocket Barrage, you get an EMP down to stop any kind of defense matrix, get rid of the Winston bubble. And Rocket Barrage will be able to go to town for Render.
Well, Kanga can't win this fight, Jordan. They're not going to win any fight here on point A. We'll see what Candace can do on the Ana. Oh, that was very nice. Probably would have been at least as useful there on the Winston.
Oh, the Bionade comes down too late to save Candace. Maybe he wouldn't have lived anyway, because D-Field, with that tactical visor, putting in work.
This is what we want to see, Jordan, considering how poorly Breakaway did on Ilios.
I don't know that it was an ideal EMP there from Lush. I think he was inside, and it might have hit like Brigitte and Ana or something. Only a couple of players, I think, got affected by it. Well, the rest of Breakaway were able to continue fighting with no problems at all. Candace was put under a lot of pressure in that last fight as well. It's looking dangerous now for Kanga. Barrage still available though. Oh, great shot.
Defield goes down to Render. Render, yes, as you said, with the barrage. And well, throws it out with not really anyone there to deal with him. Manages to get away from the Brigitte, who was on the high ground trying to make something of it.
Yeah, just looking for the D-Mac. As soon as the defense matrix is no longer an option for Breakaway Esports, Render can fire with impunity. Yeah. Do whatever he wants.
That big umbrella does make life a little bit tough as a Farah. So with the payload, it's going to keep moving. Yeah,
cap achieved by Kanga, eventually. It took a little while, but not in particularly dire straits. It wasn't like they were under too much pressure toward the end there. No. Now we're going to swap back to pretty standard stuff for Kanga. Render and Lush respectively going over onto Brigitte and Zaya.
Get those resting pepperonis in chat for the dive comp, which is now gone. We'll see Candace maybe changing over as well as soon as this nano boost is used. We'll see whether that is the case or not. But it's up to Slids or Jay here to throw out the EMP. Lush goes down very quickly. Nano boost is going to come out there from Cantus as well. We'll see whether it makes a difference. Defield's been picked up by Davey. 4 is low. You can see Davey there with the nano boost and the primal rage. Going to be looking to do a ton of damage. Surely Aki goes down. See ya later. Well, looks to me like maybe Kanga going to win this fight, get the payload pushing through. Quad J did throw out that self-destruct.
Definitely looks to be
successful.
Breakaway, that was a nice EMP out from Slids or J, but even though it hit the majority of Kanga players, it just didn't seem like Breakaway were able to follow up on it particularly well. Slids or J, as a result, recognizes that the Sombra's not quite working. And we'll have to respond with a Zaya of his own. Sad boy looking in the mirror, having a few words with himself.
Yeah. You're going to try one more time, Jordan, here onto Objective B. They'll fight on the payload. 4 has Primal Rage and will use it as well. Render looking quite low, actually. Almost goes down. Still, everyone alive. 6v6. We'll see how long that lasts. Rally popped by Render as well. Cantor's going to throw out that nano boost straight away. Trance comes through from Breakaway on defense, as does the sound barrier. Kanga, they're holding on to their sound barrier for now. Lush almost has that Graviton Surge as well, potentially ready to combine that with the self-destruct from Sad Boy. A very late, or more so well-timed, sound barrier going to come out from Swilko.
Well, here comes the counter grab out from Breakaway Esports, and it's much better.
One. Yes, it is.
Roger getting a kill and a DMAC, and the cleanup is there for Breakaway. 0.01 meters for Kanga. So close, yet so far. Not able to capture point B just yet. With 50 seconds on the clock, this is holdable for now for Breakaway.
Yep.
Only a rally for Kanga Esports to keep them alive in this fight.
Breakaway did a pretty good job on the first objective. They wasted a lot of Kanga's time there. And now that means that even though they've been less successful here on the second phase, they don't have to last all that much longer. Let's see how this one play out. 4 about to hit that Primal Rage, and Davey's gone down. This could be Breakaway's fight. Default pushes through. You can see just how brutal that Brigitte is in close range. And well, with 18 seconds on the clock, Kanga may not even get a second shot.
I don't think they will. They won't get a good shot, that's for sure. Someone is really going to have to suicide for the point. 10 seconds to get there. Grab is out from Slids or J as well. But I think that might have been eaten. Is anyone even going to be able to touch?
Trying to throw it there into the spawn so they can't get out.
Yeah.
I think it ends up going into the Diva.
Nobody was able to touch anyway, so it doesn't matter. And that's a very good result, actually, if you're a Breakaway. Nice defense. 96.81 meters is what they need to achieve after capping the point.
Yeah, that was actually really impressive from Breakaway. I'm very happy to see them picking this map and bringing it back just a little bit, considering how they really struggled on Ilios. Obviously, the benefit of playing multiple maps, Jordan. Doesn't matter how you go on the first one, if you can start finding your momentum again. And maybe these two teams are a little bit closer than we gave them the credit for 3 minutes ago.
I have to see how Breakaway do on the attack, though. It's always the tale of two halves. As expected, Slids or J will be slotting himself onto Farah. D-Field with the Sombra. So, harking back again to Season 1, kind of a meta. For Breakaway, at least. Kanga Esports, well, Brigitte didn't exist in Season 1. But we did see quite a lot of Soldier on the defense. So this is pretty standard stuff for Kanga.
Yeah.
But I think they're very much expecting to see the Pharah. That's why we've got a soldier for Lush. And Lush was, again, like I said, pretty good on the hit scan heroes. Solid on McCree, solid on Widow. I haven't seen so much of the soldier just yet.
They don't have to get that far. This is Breakaway's chance to head into half-time. Even Stevens, Jordan. 1-1 would be not a bad result considering how today has started off for them. So for their sake, I hope they can achieve it. For Kanga, they'll be looking for a hold here on the first point. Because, look...
Oh, that's a great boop. That is a massive boop. Getting rid of 3 players from the high ground. Now the tempo is starting to favour Breakaway a little bit.
Little J doing a fair bit of damage here on the Pharah as well. Takes a bit of his own. 1/3 of the way through. But 2 picks going in Kanga's favour. Only 1 going in Breakaways. They need to find the next pick. It's a 1-for-1 again. It's Little J going to go down. Up on the high ground, caught out there by Sad Boy in the mech.
I thought Little J was going to be able to do enough, but just under too much pressure. Kanga very well aware of that threat above, and now they'll reset themselves on the high ground. I don't think they'll fall prey again to another concussive blast like that, which will force them all off. You could see the room that it gave Little J to work with, but it just was not enough. Well, there's another boop, and they're just going to knock a couple off, so Candace will fall as well.
They're good boops, and this time, Paul's going to hit the high ground with decent speed as well. Davey going to get forced back there. This may not be Kanga's ideal fight. Sad Boy is low, and Little J going to use the barrage. The D-Mech comes through, but look at that. Lush and Render both come through with 2 big picks. Candace follows it up as well. Well, Lush going to be able to find another. That's an easy way to deal with the Pharah.
Yeah, that is an awesome, awesome tactical visor out from Lush. We'll keep the point alive. 2 ticks up, though, for Breakaway, so it's not all for naught. 2 minutes still to just get the 1 tick. Breakaway, I think, will be happy enough with that. They would have loved to have...
They've got the ultimates as well.
Yeah.
Surely they only need 1/3.
Well, they only need perhaps one EMP in this fight. Get rid of all these Kanga players. They're so grouped up.
He's just behind them, lurking. EMP, here we go. That's a pretty good one.
Oh, Lush, great
kill,
kill,
though. It goes straight down. Yeah, Lush right on point there. It's not going to stop the rifle, that is for sure. So Little J is low, picked up by Lush again. Lush, my MVP this time around, playing some very good soldier right now.
Yeah, definitely. D-Field, a little unfortunate to get picked off like that. You mentioned how many ultimates Breakaway had. Well, they only had the ability to use the EMP there. As soon as D-Field gets taken down, they just reset. They're going to go again, but I don't know, Kanga starting to get a bit of a stronghold right now. Set up here on point A. Lush getting low, but immediately healed back up. Dive will come in once again from Breakaway.
Self-destruct going to come through. Not bad positioning. Great positioning, actually. And in one fell Diva Swoop. That will end Breakaway's hopes of attack. Now, 1 minute on a clock, at least. On the clock. At least they did not throw anything into that. Little J is going to have his ultimate again. They're going to have 4 up. Kanga's going to have nothing. Maybe Lush.
Attack Visor, probably. Yeah. If they can get a Nano Visor out, that might be just enough for Kanga to hold on here. If Breakaway, for example, throw out the self-destruct as the Nano Visor goes across, I don't know. We'll see how this plays out, but really is going to all come down to Lush with a good Visor.
Looking for the high ground. 4 gets knocked back by the shield bash, but does manage to pop that Primal Rage. Going to chase down the supports as well. That's 2 good kills.
Oh, he just hung around too long.
Yep.
Got a little bit too greedy for those kills, but going to see a pause come out straight away. For Kanga Esports, it does look like they're going to be losing this. In fact, they actually have lost the point. Yeah. Just got capped up there right at the end, and so now we're into payload time for Breakaway. Man, Kanga don't have much room left to hold.
No. This is the map that Breakaway needed. Coming off the back of quite an unimpressive game there on Ilios, this is the one we go, you know what? That was just an outlier. We're actually much better than this. And this is what we're seeing so far.
I agree. I think we've seen some good stuff out from Breakaway. They're being responsive to what's occurring at what times. You know, if they're losing a player early on in the fight, they're resetting very quickly. They're not feeding ult charge over unnecessarily. They were able to shut down Lush quite nicely in that last fight. He was put under pressure from the start. They knew that he was the only one that really had an ultimate available. So to keep him really out of the fight for the majority of the time, does result in a round win, or not necessarily a round win just yet for Breakaway, but it could well.
They're going to change it up here. What are we going to see?
Standard.
Yep.
Once the high ground is not really as much of a factor, you're going to go back onto more of a ground-based
Zarya's
position.
far less effective trying to attack onto the first objective here on Numbani, but the second time around, objective B, entirely different story. It's going to try and build up some of that ultimate charge. Get the Graviton Surge out nice and early. You can see the payloads are now a long way through. They're going to start off immediately here with the sound barrier as well.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, indeed. That is not how that's supposed to play out here for Breakaway.
No, definitely not, especially considering they were the ones that put the sound barrier into that. So we'll go. So we've got to get the nano boost out there in the meanwhile. But Davey and Cantus now have Primal Rage, Transcendence. Lots of time buying ultimates on the side of Kanga. For now, at least. Another attempt here for Breakaway. They'll just try and smash into Kanga, as you do with the Ghost Comp.
Go for it, see how it works out. Deepfield goes down first because Davies popped that Primal Rage, and on the back of just one ultimate Elfishguy, Kanga will stop this fight before it even really starts. Breakaway going to be charging down. They just need one good fight, a couple of dry pushes left. If they can do that and find the advantage, that's what they need. The payload does not need to go far at all. I could somersault far enough if I needed to.
Do you reckon you could
distance.
somersault 9 meters?
Yeah, well, not in one somersault, but like 2.5.
I would be pretty impressed if you
3.
could do that.
I don't know.
I would be pretty impressed if you could somersault at all. But Lush has got a grab, so more things to worry about here for Breakaway.
Yeah.
They're taking quite a few economic fights though, where they'll try to build their own ultimates. Perhaps Breakaway, they'll just throw this one away and go for one committed fight toward the end with everything.
Oh, big grab. Let's see if they can follow through with the damage. Well, the Reinhardt's down, and that's almost the end, or the beginning of the end, I should even say, here for Breakaway. They've gone pretty well. They have one last hope, Jordan. They're going for the hole-in-one. I'm ready for a big grab.
That's what it's going to come down to for Breakaway, isn't it? A big grab, self-destruct combo. 4 might be able to follow it up with an Earth Shatter if push comes to shove, which could again be a big linchpin in the success now. No barrier. There's the grab out, but
throws
only
it
catches
through.
Davey.
It does indeed, and Davey goes down. Unfortunately, he goes down before the self-destruct goes off, so that was almost wasted.
Good shatter.
But without their main tank, Jordan, it is now very tough for Kanga to hold on to this. They do have Cantus there. They do have that trans. Will it be enough to keep them alive?
4's got shatter. Only gets Lush.
Does get Lush, but immediately Candace pops the trans, keeps the team going. You can see the Davey's back now into the fight. He has the shield, looking strong. Aki pops trans as well, but the sound barrier comes out for Kanga.
Another grab.
It looks almost like a double grab.
It is a double grab. Self-destruct out from Quad J, and that's going to be enough to dispatch of Render. Breakaway Esports.
One last self-destruct, one last chance is going to do nothing. Breakaway are going to bring it back 1-1 as we head into half-time. Exactly what they needed to do. Much, much closer than the previous map. And now, Elfishguy, we do indeed have a match on our hands.
Yes, Lindsay J, great work being able to build up another Graviton Surge that quickly. The fight lasted for quite a while, and I thought when 4 threw that shatter down, it didn't really connect with too much. That was going to be it for Breakaway. Kanga was going to win because Davey would come back very quickly then on the Reinhardt, but just not quite enough there from Kanga Esports, and Breakaway will pick up their first map win of Contenders Season 3.
Oh, look at that. That was so good.
Was good, but unfortunately, still did not result in a fight 1 for Kanga. I think for Breakaway, just coming up on the ultimates at the right time in that final fight, and Kanga, unfortunately, not able to really consolidate on the small advantage window that they did have by maybe a couple of wasted ultimates out there from Breakaway in the end, but enough time kept alive by Breakaway that they're able to charge up a couple more ultimates.
For me,
there you go.
For me, Breakaway won Numbani on the defensive side. Kanga really should have got further than that. It's actually quite difficult to defend at this point here on the second objective. Mostly, we will see teams of even ability make it through much
Most
closer
of the
to
way.
Objective C.
Yeah,
So,
even if you don't quite cap out the whole map, you at least want to get around the corner all the way to point C. Not the case there for Kanga Esports. I'll have to agree with you, Ben. I think Breakaway did a very good job on their defensive side. Took a little bit to get the ball rolling on the attack, but once they did, well done from Breakaway. Now we have an interesting series on our hands, sitting at 1 apiece right now. Neither team looking much better than the other. I think we could be in for a pretty close one to finish things off as well in the second half.
yeah, we started off here thinking that Kanga was going to be the team to go 4-0. Very successful on Ilios, but Nbani was an entirely different story. It's Breakaway up against Kanga. It's halftime, and we will be back right after this.